Hi, it's Taylor T. Carlson. I'm here again with another video, and this time around I'm going to be going back in time to the silent era and reviewing the old film, The Man Who Laughs. This was just reissued by Flicker Alley, who's done a lot of reissues of older films, a lot of great remasters, and when I found out that the main character from this film was the inspiration for the Joker, the classic Batman villain, I knew this was something I was going to have to give a chance. Now, since I am reviewing a silent film, I think one of the first things I need to do is set the mood. That's better, right? The film revolves around a character named Gwynplaine, and in his youth he was massacred and his face was slashed by these ruthless gypsies who were exiled following their actions, and as he's running away trying to keep his face hidden, he comes across a young baby whose mother had died in the cold, and the two of them end up joining up with a circus troupe that goes around from town to town entertaining and performing, and the young girl that he rescued ends up being blind, and she becomes the one who is in love with him. Obviously she's blind so she can't see his disfigured face, but he becomes fascinated when during a performance there's someone of royalty who does not laugh at his performance, and he has to go and meet this woman, and it turns out she's actually from a royal family, and through an odd series of coincidences it turns out that Gwynplaine is actually the heir to a royal position, and what unfolds following that is his carnival troupe being exiled and him attempted to be forced into a royal role he doesn't really want to be a part of. The film runs about 110 minutes, and it's pretty entertaining throughout its duration. The sets, the visuals, and of course Gwynplaine's makeup. I mean, it's a great looking film. I mean, it's been about 90 years since this came out. We're coming up on the 100-year celebration, and it's a great movie. I would argue that there's maybe a few too many of the royal characters. It gets too bogged down in the royal politics a little later on, but overall, it's a small price to pay for what overall is a very good film. Definitely a classic from this era that deserves a second look, or if you're not familiar with it, a first look. In this film, Gwynplaine is portrayed by Conrad Veidt. He had also previously appeared as the villainous somnambulist in The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, really famous early silent film, which I'll probably have to cover that another time. I've done a written review for that, but I'd love to cover that in a video. And the love interest in the film, the blind girl, is portrayed by Mary Philbin, who had previously appeared in the 1925 Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera. You may also remember Conrad Veidt from Casablanca, where he played the villainous Nazi Major Strasser. The film is actually based on the works of Victor Hugo, really famous, really esteemed French author, probably best known for Les Miserables, but he's done a lot of things over the years, and one of the reasons the American studio elected to make this film is because outside of France, Victor Hugo's works were considered royalty-free public domain, so they wouldn't have to pay a ton of money to get the rights. As usual, Flicker Alley has done a pretty good job with remastering the film and the picture quality. I'm not sure if it was them specifically that commissioned this restoration or if there had already been a special transfer done for this for earlier releases. It says it was mastered in 4K. The release is just a Blu-ray disc. It's not an actual 4K ultra high def disc, but I watched this upscaled in a 4K player on a 4K TV, and it looks very good. I would argue this is one of the better looking silent films on the format, especially when you consider that silent movies generally weren't preserved as well as later movies. A lot of them have long since been lost to time, but the movie looks very good. There's even 2 score options on the disc, so you can give both of those a listen. One, I believe, was newly commissioned for the remaster for this disc, whereas the earlier one is based on the original score from the original theatrical release back in the late 1920s. The actual disc does not contain a lot of bonus material. There's one sort of video journal feature that goes on for about 10-15 minutes. You get some interesting insight into the making of the film. I wish there had been a little more in terms of actual on-video bonus content, although there is a booklet included which has a lot of essays and added information, and it's a bit of a lengthy read, but it's definitely worthwhile. Honestly, I probably should have reread that before making this video. I'd probably have more information for you. Again, this is a highly recommended release of an old silent film. Great remaster. The movie itself holds up pretty well, even if it's a little too long and the subplots about royal politics get a bit too much emphasis. Make sure you hit the like button below and be sure you subscribe to my channel. I try to get new videos up every week, so I'm sure I will see you guys again soon. This is Taylor T. Carlson. See you on my next video.